The Las Vegas Aces, Ryan, wins their first championship in franchise history with 78-71 win over Connecticut in game 4 of the WNBA finals. And yes, you can bet I'm reading that page right off of my phone, ESPN. You bet your money on that one. I tell you what, number one is always sweet. What I think is sweet about this is I think we're a UConn podcast, women's basketball. But again, this is our yearly tradition. It's all smiles in Vegas. Ryan, I don't know if it's anything sweeter right now. I get it. The players put the work in, but we talked about it. We talked about how close to 10 years ago, I was down at the bonfire in Ocean City, right? And I see scrolling across the screen, Becky Hammon gets hired, first ever female assistant coach in NBA history. Okay. I didn't know who Becky Hammon was. I'm not going to even lie to you, man. I did not know who she was. She was a WNBA legend, all right, but I didn't know who she was at the time, right? You and I never watched the women's basketball that much back in the day, 2011, 2012, somewhere around there. She got hired with the Spurs, and her first year, okay, get this, first year as head coach, she wins it all. All right, I understand the players put the work in, but I think for the coming days, man, all you're going to hear is Becky Hammon. But hats off to the Las Vegas Aces, Ryan, 2022 WNBA champions.
Yeah, they came in as the number 1 seed, and it definitely wasn't an easy road, but they got it done in 4 games versus the Sun. Of course, like I said earlier in the last episode that we have, a lot of people thought, including us, it was going to be the Chicago Sky and the Las Vegas Aces in the WNBA finals. But either way, Aces win it in 4. Congratulations to Las Vegas. Like you said, their first WNBA championship in franchise history. Unbelievable job by Becky Hammon and that coaching staff as well. Becky Hammon, her first year there, and to take the Las Vegas Aces to the top of the standings in the regular season, and for them to continue that into the playoffs, and then to really dominate in the WNBA finals, except for Game 3. But I mean, A'ja Wilson, of course, winning the MVP award. Kelsey Plum had an incredible year. Jackie Young, and Chelsea Gray as well had an amazing playoff run, and just everybody really on the team contributed for Las Vegas. It was a whole team effort, but it is just incredible for Becky Hammon to come into her first year. She obviously has a lot of experience as a player, and then of course being the assistant coach to Greg Popovich in the NBA. But it's still incredible for her to come into here into the WNBA and join the Aces, and they were really just a powerhouse from day one, and I'm glad they were able to win the first title in franchise history.
Yeah, that's right. Let's go over the games on specifically in the playoffs, how they got to this point. I see the fireworks are just going off now. I guess they updated Google because every time you search a championship team now in professional sports, hats off to Google on that too. They shoot fireworks off, right? So that's a little tradition now that they have online. So you go and search the Las Vegas Aces, whether you're into women's basketball or not, and there you will find fireworks, Ryan, shooting off in your face. Because guess what? They are world champions. Let's go over again how they got here. I really think, to be honest with you, the Seattle Storm had a true shot at winning it all.
Yeah.
But I think when you look back at this, and again, no matter what happened going forward, I think the game that stood out to me that really, I'm like, there's always that. It seems like for every championship team, no matter if it's blowout wins or not blowout wins, it seems like that there's always a team that takes the future championship team and pushes them to their height, and gives them a good test.
Right.
Seattle did that. All right. And what Wnba Vopel called the game of the year, I believe that's where what stood out to me on ABC a couple weeks ago, where Vegas did not give up, man. Now I think it was double overtime or an overtime. They win the Aces and the Storm.
Overtime. Yeah.
And you know exactly the game I'm talking about. Man, I think it just, for them to go into Seattle, Sue Bird shoots that, what is the game winning 3, it looked like, but yet again, somehow the Aces come back. And when I saw that game, Ryan, I'm like, with the Aces winning on the road like this in overtime, with Brianna Stewart on the court, Sue Bird on the court, all the emotions leading up to this game, man, I just think that was the game. That was really the game. Not saying that Connecticut didn't have a chance, because Connecticut really blew them out in, what was it, game 3. But again, man, when I sit back and look at the postseason, I'm like, that game, that overtime victory, Aces on the road against the Storm, that's what did it. I'm like, Las Vegas is winning it all.
Yeah, and then the game after that, to come back 2 days later back to Seattle and went to win game 4 by 5 points was also incredible too, to advance to the WNBA finals and to send Sue Bird, home to, because she retired, and that would be her last game in Seattle. So that was another huge win for Las Vegas. But yeah, I mean, that overtime game was just obviously the game of the year. It was incredible. One of the best games in the past couple years, probably, for the WNBA. But yeah, they just went back and forth there in that last couple minutes, the last 30 seconds, and Sue Bird hitting the 3, and then Vegas somehow getting a layup to tie it. And then in overtime for Las Vegas to win the game on the road, come back 2 days later and finish off the Storm. And then game 1 of the WNBA finals was a heck of a game too, to only win by 3. But the Aces defend their home court, win both of the games, come to Connecticut, tough third game, but finish them off here today for game 4. So again, congratulations, incredible season by the Sun as well. The Sun had an incredible team to get past Chicago and to come back and win 2 games in a row, and to steal that series from Chicago was incredible. But yeah, congratulations to the Aces.
This is a championship team, again, the Las Vegas Aces, and I couldn't wait to ask you this. I'm curious as to what you had to say, with you and I such into sports, especially you backing me up with your statistics and your hard work, your studying all the time. I'm like, man, I have to bring this up to Ryan. This Aces team, Ryan, back in early August, is a team that lost, okay? They lost. They scored 73 points against the Mystics and lost, okay? Then against your Dallas Wings, somehow I remember texting you. I'm like, did Dallas just win that game without Arike Ogunbowale, I believe? The Wings defeated the Aces, okay, by 2, 82-80, and that was back in early August. So I wanted to ask you, I mean, when Becky Hammon goes back, or if Ryan Renner goes back and looks at the schedule like we are now, and your jaw just drops, what's your first thought of what specifically happened? I mean, did the pieces just come together? In your opinion, when you look at this team that just won it all, literally minutes ago, what happened? I mean, again, the Mystics. I'm not saying the Dallas Wings are bad. I mean, the Mystics were very good. The Dallas Wings are very good. But again, we're talking about a team that just won the championship, and they only scored 73 and 80 in early August. But then you go down here, they eliminate the what was it in round 1? Okay, they faced the Mercury.
Yeah,
and
Phoenix.
They go on to score 79, 117, okay, 117 points in the second game where the Mercury got eliminated. Then you have the Aces knocking off the Storm, okay, and they scored 110 points in game 3. And then you have in the WNBA finals, the Aces come out and score. Actually, they didn't score a game. They did not score over 100 in the WNBA finals. So I mean, again, Connecticut was the team that put up 105 in game 3. But again, when you look back at this, it seems like to me, even though the Las Vegas Aces did not score over 100 points, so what? They won it all, right? And again, I did predict a sweep, but guess what? That game 3 doesn't really matter now if you're a Connecticut fan, because you lost the WNBA finals. That was a terrific performance. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, you even said it's going to be a game 5, Phil. So, I mean, you just don't know what to expect day to day. But I mean, what happened? I mean, because it seems like that this Las Vegas Aces team was falling off as the postseason started. But again, we're sitting here talking about the Aces all of a sudden world champions. I'm just trying to, I guess what I'm trying to do is have Ryan Renner try to piece it all together for me.
Yeah, and Alyssa Thomas as well in the game 3 of the WNBA finals with the first ever triple double. So that was incredible too. But yeah, the start of August, the Aces lose 2 games, and it was 2 tough road games to go into Washington. That's a tough place to play. They lose by 10, and then of course that was a bad loss to the Wings without Enrique. Obviously, to go to Dallas, another road game. They only lost by 2. But I think it was really important. The next 4 games they won. They beat the Storm, the Dream, the Sky, and the Storm again. So those are 3 pretty tough opponents. And the Dream are pretty tough too. They were fighting for a playoff spot to get in. But to win those 4 games in a row there to finish out the season at the end of August, that was really, really important for the Aces to do that. They had a ton of momentum heading into the playoffs. If they would have lost those last couple games, they probably wouldn't have got the number 1 seed, because I believe that they actually tied, I believe, with, they did have the same exact record as the Sky going into the playoffs, but I think Vegas obviously had the tiebreaker. So if Vegas doesn't win those last 4 games, they're not going to get the number 1 seed. So that was probably in itself one of the most important, the most important 4 games for the Aces were those last 4. And that was pretty incredible and a pretty good win streak to go on right before the playoffs to get momentum, clinch the number 1 seed. And I think that's one of the main reasons as well. Vegas was able to go in, have a lot of momentum, beat Phoenix for 2 in a row, and then finish off the Storm. So I think that 4-game win streak really sent them into the playoffs with a good momentum.
When you go back and look at this, not only this series, but this season specifically, again, we're talking about the Las Vegas Aces, world champions. What is it more of a team effort? I mean, I get it. It's a team sport, and we'll always go back and look at her performance. But was it just one player? I know who, if you want to tell you now, mine is Asia Wilson. I mean, and again, you have to shout out, because when they actually brought up the fact, I think one of her own teammates, Kelsey Plum, I forgot who it was, but they actually called her out to step up. And Kelsey Plum did step up, right? So when you go back and look at not only this series, but this season, which player stands out to you? And mine is definitely Asia Wilson. I mean, she came up big in big time moments, clutch moments. And not only that, man, it's, again, I'm trying to look at the roster here now and trying to pick just one. It's so tough. I will go with Asia Wilson, but talk about the performance that we saw from Chelsea Gray.
Yeah, and that's who I'm gonna go with is Chelsea Gray, because she led the team in points, assists, and steals in this postseason. So it was an incredible performance, obviously, from the MVP and Asia Wilson. She was definitely, I'd say the main leader of that Aces team, and they were kind of relying on her to get everybody into the game, hype everybody up, and keep them in the game, kind of keep them going. But Chelsea Gray had an incredible postseason for the Las Vegas Aces. And I think really, I mean, she was able to score, obviously, but her defense and intensity is really what stood out to me in a couple of those games that I watched. She was just all over the floor, stealing, blocking shots, getting rebounds, doing all the dirty work. And on top of that, scoring a lot of points as well. So, and also Kelsey Plum, she was able to knock down a lot of 3-pointers, and I think that was really important for the Aces as well. But yeah, I mean, they were an incredible offensive team, but it was their defense a couple of those games that really saved them there at the end, and was able to finish off the job for a couple of those games.
Well, that's some pretty good picks. So I'm going with the former South Carolina player, and then of course you're going with the former Duke player. So that's pretty good company, if you ask me. I mean, Duke and South Carolina. Oh man, 2 strong basketball programs, but we don't want to dive too much into that, because now this is an official UConn podcast, so we don't want to lose anybody that already loves to tune in right every week and watch us. But we want to remind everyone to like, comment, and subscribe, especially if they're seeing this video and they don't. This is the first time they have seen us, to subscribe to the channel if they do like UConn Huskies women's basketball talk, because that's mainly what we do, Ryan. I know we're going to come on with a lot of live streams. Ryan, November right around the corner. So that's a good sign. We don't like to see the WNBA season end, but guess what? That's just another sign that Huskies basketball is right around the corner.
Yeah, we've been definitely waiting for a while now. We've been looking forward to it for a long time, and we've still got about a month and a half, I think, left. But it's coming up quick. It's right around the corner, like you mentioned. So I know we can't wait to cover that the opening game. We're really excited for it. So yeah, we can't wait. We're excited.
Well, I'm sure somewhere Greg Popovich is smiling because his former assistant, and that would be actually her number, Ryan, her jersey number is even retired, number 25, the South Dakota native, Rapid City, South Dakota native, Becky Hammond, and the Las Vegas Aces. They win it all. Ryan, the final 78-71. Listen up, presented by Dempsey's and Sportsland. Ryan, you have another champion on your hands, partner. Congratulations all the way from Maryland. The Las Vegas Aces 2022 WNBA champions.